Okay, in the last video we talked about the derivative of a sine function. Now let's look at the derivative of a cosine function. So let me create my grid here, and then let me plot my cosine function, cosine of x. And there we have it there. Now what I want to do is I want to create the slope of a tangent line at a point. So let me do that real quick. Tangent to my cosine function. And there we go. And what I want to do is I'm going to take this x value of that point along the curve, and I'm going to measure that x value. See what that value for x is. And then I want to measure the slope of my tangent line. Now if I take that x value and then I take my slope and I plot a new point, C, we'll call this point C, I'm going to now measure that x value and then measure the y value of that point. And again, notice that our x values for point A and for point C are the same. And notice that the y value of point C is the slope of my tangent line. Okay, now I'm going to zoom out here real quick, and I'm going to plot point C. I'm going to trace point C, and I'm going to animate my point and my line, and let's see what kind of graph we create for our derivative. And so you'll notice that it's another trig function that should look pretty familiar to you. Many of you are thinking, we know that the derivative of a sine graph is cosine, so many of you may think that the derivative of a cosine graph is sine. You're pretty close, but the thing of it is that what we're actually creating here is the graph of negative sine x. And here's the reason why. If I think of my unit circle and I think of the sine of 0, when my angle is 0, what's the y value at 0? Right around here is where we have the value x value pi over 2. And so when x is pi over 2, on a sine function we normally get 1. But here we get negative 1. So the graph here that we've generated is actually negative sine x. So let me go ahead and plot that point, graph the function negative sine of x, and it should match right on top of that red function, and of course it does. So what we figure out is that if I take the derivative of a cosine function, then I get negative sine as my derivative. And knowing these two derivatives will allow you to generate all of the other trig functions using the quotient rule. Hope you enjoy it. Talk to you later.